Welcome, everybody, to the Mansfield Buzz. Welcome, everybody, to the Mansfield Buzz. Yes, it's Thursday. It's 2 p.m., and we're on every Thursday. Jordan and I have been doing this. We launched this Mansfield Buzz back in March, so we are going to the end of the year. We wanted to tell everybody, first off, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. We will disappear till January 9th after this last live show of the year, but never fear. We'll be putting up tons of little shorts of all our past shows and having some fun with the channel. And we wanted to thank our next year's sponsor, Liberty Tax Defenders, Liberty Financial Solutions. Brad and Wade are going to be full sponsors of our first 24 shows the next year. We're real excited to have them. So we'll be rebranding some stuff over the holidays. We're your hosts. This is Jordan, Huff, and Hurdy Burke. And then our guests, of course, are Joe and Mandy Chapman with Stand Strong Fencing. We'll be with them in a few minutes. So bear with us. We got some things to go over. If you are a first-time listener, or if you're going to be coming back and listening to not only this live show, but also the on-demand, please make sure on YouTube you go to @MansfieldTXBuzz, subscribe. Jordan, you always point, hit the little notification bell, and then go down below and hit let us like. There's a little thumbs up button right now under this live show. If you don't mind, click on that, because what that does is it helps the algorithm with YouTube and allows it to be more relevant content. So please check that off. If you are chatting with us today, if you decide to come in and ask questions, we'll post it right here so you guys can see that. And then we also have, let me put this banner back up. We also are, Jordan, guest, we're booked all the way to the end of February. I just started putting out March segments. So if you're interested in being on the live podcast with us or broadcast with us on YouTube, they start March 6th, 13th, the 20th, and the 27th is open right now, and I'll be booking those quickly. So you can email me right here at hurdy@hurdyburke.com. And then, Jordan, you know, the views are going really well. We're still averaging over 1,000, 2,700, fluctuates with the holidays, right? But, you know, we're still averaging 27 to 40-hour watch times for our local YouTube channel that we don't really publicize. We kind of let our guests share their shows out and let the traffic build that way. So we're really happy. Today's guest, Mandy, Joe Chapman, Stand Strong Fencing. If you can't see that behind Mandy, I guess, you know, what can I tell you? And we have their logo up in the top right-hand corner. But Jordan, you know what our next phase is, right? And Jordan's camera moves. Yeah, when he points, his camera follows him, you know, so that's a good thing.
It does move, right?
That's right, yeah.
Maybe
so
not this time.
What I consider be the fun part of the show before we jump into them and start going through some of the questions they'd like to ask is our icebreaker section. And so we're going to start that right now, and we'll be back with you in about 15 seconds. Okay, so this is fun. We're going to talk sports, Joe. So Mandy said, hey, I asked her to kind of give me some icebreaker stuff to ask you. And so the first icebreaker question to you, Joe, is let's talk some sports. You want to tell me what you just go crazy over?
Well, I born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I am a huge Indiana sports fan. And of course, auto racing, going to the 500, that's a given.
Nice.
Yeah, NASCAR too. You've got them all up there, right?
We've got them all.
That racetrack's open every weekend. You can go you can go watch a race there, SCCA, anything all weekend. Yeah,
absolutely.
But you have another famous person right now is playing for one of your teams, the Indiana Fever. You want to mention her name, or do we even have to?
Well, I mean, I think everybody knows Caitlin Clark right now.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
You know, we welcomed her in from Iowa. We'll let her in, but
No kidding. No kidding. Yeah, well, she changed the WNBA this year, and Time Magazine Person of the Year, and she's getting all sorts of accolades and awards. So I'm sure you're going to be flying back and forth every other day for the game.
I won't quite be doing that, but
okay.
But I tell you what we need. I need everyone to be Indiana Hoosier fans Friday night in the playoffs against.
Yeah, I was going to say. So this is exciting because this is the first year in quite a few years where the football program was really good for Indiana University, and they are in the playoffs. Yes. And they play Friday night. And is it Notre Dame that they're playing? If I'm correct, is that their playoff game? Super. Yep. Wow. So he doesn't like sports at all, man. No. Not at all, right?
Yeah, don't get me started on the Pacers, but we talked a little bit earlier.
That's right.
Brought up the Colts. Truthfully, Colts didn't show up till I was in college, so I grew up a Cowboys fan. So it's been a long 30 years.
No, I'm kidding. Too bad for all of us this year, but that's beside the point. All right, so the second icebreaker question, and Mandy, I'm going to let you drill into this because you probably have some great memories of this, is you kind of sent me a teaser question, and that was married where?
Well, Joe is from Indiana, where the majority of his family and friends were when we met, and then I was from Houston, and so we got married on a beach in Jamaica. That way, we could come back and have parties in Houston and in Indianapolis. So
I guess that was neutral ground, huh?
Yeah, yes. Exactly.
And did y'all do a bunch of things while you were there? Obviously, that's a very cool place. Did you? Did you guys just hang out and lay low and stay on the beaches? They're beautiful,
Yeah. We went to Duns River Falls. I thought I was going to be walking alongside of the waterfall. I didn't realize I was going to be in it.
You were in it. Yeah.
We were in it. Yeah. We were in it. We did it twice, though. It was really fun. So
now,
what was that? Was it like they put it like on the catalogs with the models, like just dancing in the water? Like, is it that glamorous?
Yeah, it's fun. It's
the Duns River Falls it can be a challenge in some spots. You're truly walking up the rocks, up the falls into another.
And you got to be careful.
Hang out a while, and then you go up the next trek. We thought it was going to be touristy. You kind of walked up the side and saw falls. No, you are waist deep and hanging on to some rocks certain times.
We took our parents. Our parents.
Not a good
idea. I'm sorry. That's wow. Okay. So is there a famous drink they're famous for over there?
Oh, it's their rum. What is
I'm a Red Stripe guy. I'm a beer drinker, so Red Stripe.
Well, that's fine, but I knew you were getting the rum. I just want to make sure we mention that because that is kind of the different ways they mix all their rums over there. That's cool.
My mother-in-law loved their banana rum drink that they had.
There you go. That actually sounds pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this is Mandy and Joe Chapman, and they're with Stand Strong Fencing. And Jordan, we've got a bunch of questions for them today, and we're just going to have, sitting around kitchen table talk, just getting to know them. And hopefully, guys, if you need some fencing, you'll pay attention. These are great folks. So, Jordan, fire away, my friend.
Definitely. One of the things I really like about this show is we get to know, the people behind the business, right? And so now we know that you got married in Jamaica, which is awesome. Yeah. So you guys are married. So maybe you can give us a little bit more peek into yourselves. You're married. You have kids.
Yeah. Well, I'll let Mandy go with that one.
Yeah, we have 2 kids. We got a girl and a boy. It was a perfect place to stop. And this year we got the addition of our grandson, and that is magical.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
So we not only got married in Jamaica, it was 25 years ago. So we've been married 25 years. Both kids, 22 and 24 now. And yes, an 11-month-old grandson, which is really cool.
Yeah, you're a grandmother now. And we have 3 grandkids we'll be going to see here shortly up in Flower Mound. So yeah, that's cool. Fun times coming up.
Awesome.
Fun times.
Yeah, definitely. Who was the strict one out of you 2?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Oh, me.
You?
Me.
Okay. So how has the grandkid turned you?
Oh my gosh. I get down on the floor and I make sure that every day I'm on the floor playing with them,
Good.
Yeah. That was the case with my dad. My dad was like the strictest, driest person you could ever meet. And then my my niece comes around and he's like pretending to be a horse, carrying her around, like making the most outrageous things. I'm like, who is
Right.
this man?
Oh, we have a band. Me and Liam have a band. And the other day, my dog came in and he was the lead singer. And, you know, we just have a really good time.
And so how do y'all do that? So what do you mean you have a band? Do you play music and actually sing to the songs? Do you karaoke it? What do you do?
You know,
Dog things.
well, most of the time I'm the lead singer, which is really sad for, you know, everybody that has to listen. But, you know, Bandit did step
I
up to
love
the
it.
plate and, you know, help out. But I do the drums and he does the maracas, and we
I
just
love that.
So
just have
you
to
got it. Bandit is a husky, so you guys know they talk, they sing, they are very
Yes, they
vocal.
do. Our Australian Shepherd does the same thing. He
Yeah.
talks to us, guarantee it. You know,
Extremely vocal.
Oh, that is awesome. That's so cool.
Mine gives me the boo-boo eyes when he needs something. Just so you know.
I think most dogs have
Ours walks over and just drops his head in your lap and stares up at you until it's like,
Yeah,
it's like, I'm here.
I know exactly. They're
Yeah,
cool.
between
Though.
dogs and babies,
Keep us young. Keep us
just
young.
mercy.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So then, to move on a little bit, your family been married for 25 years, and then for some reason, you guys decided to do the business thing and start a fencing company.
What's the story
I would
behind that?
love to know, how did you arrive to that conclusion, and what motivated you to go down this path?
Well, Joe and I met, you know, in the first place, we were both in the mortgage industry, and Joe stayed in the mortgage industry for like 30 years, and
Wow.
we were looking for a change. And I'll let Joe kind of take over a little bit and share some of that.
Yeah, I mean, we honestly started a couple of years ago on, you know, what's plan B. I neither one of us look at retirement down the road where we're sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And so we started what's plan B, started looking at different businesses we wanted to maybe get into. We have spent throughout our marriage remodeling, we flipping properties, doing investment properties. So we always enjoyed that. And it'll see where it ties in, but we always found we wanted to leave things better than we found them. And we truly enjoyed kind of that home improvement process. And so when we started looking at companies or jobs or what do we want to do, it really kind of centered around home services, to be honest with you. It's kind of something we knew we liked, but we also found there's a need in that industry. If you've done remodeling or anything around the house, you know, sometimes communicating with the contractor, getting them to return your calls, showing up on time, making the job, that got to be a little tedious at times. And, you know, we had our last experience, and Mandy can kind of talk about that on the last house we did. We ran into, you know, a challenge with a painting company that kind of led us to go, there's a better way to do things. And Mandy, I don't know if you want to kind of touch on that.
Oh, yeah. We had a painting company come out, and, you know, I'd had the sales guy come out. He was wonderful. We talked about everything. And then the job was done. And I was like, oh, wow, this isn't what we talked about. So I called the sales guy back, and he would never return my calls. And I had to chase down the owner of the company and get the owner on. And she's like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm like, no, you know what? You're going to come out and you're going to look at it, and we're going to manage expectation, because one of our expectations are aligned here. And sure enough, she came out and she was like, okay, we have to fix this. Well, I thought, why do people have to go through that? There's a better way to do it. You know, people deserve better than that. You know, you're paying, you know, services cost a lot of money, and you deserve to be treated with respect. You know, your opinion matters. You know, you should be happy when the job's done. So that's kind of what led us into the home service, is trying to give people the experience that we wanted to have ourselves.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so,
fencing? Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry. Yeah. And why fencing? We looked at a couple of different options. I guess maybe the salesman part of me that's at instant gratification. I mean, there is nothing like pulling up to a house
Yeah.
with a fence that's falling down and leaving that afternoon with fresh cedar fence. I mean, that afternoon, and the homeowner, you can make a change in a short amount of time and really add to not only the aesthetics of a property, but privacy and security. It's a big deal, especially here in Texas. And that is
Close
something
zero
that,
lot properties that put tied together.
absolutely, you know, and, you know, anymore people spend a lot of time at home. They want a safe spot in their backyard for their kids, their
Yeah,
pets.
dogs, pets,
Yeah, absolutely. So that
snakes.
drove us to fencing because we knew it. It was also an opportunity where Mandy can focus on her specialty, which is the operation side, the marketing side. And I could spend my time in the sales and project manage it. It just really fit for what we as a couple do and what we were looking for in a business and how we wanted to run it.
So I have a fun question before Jordan asks the next one. So now, since you're in this business,
Mm-hmm.
do you ever enjoy any neighborhood you drive through? Or are you just now so focused on every fence that you just forget to see the fun stuff? Is it just constant looking at that and commenting on it to each other? Is it just
we went to a Christmas party and
I just want to make sure.
We're at a Christmas party of our friend's house and we were looking at their fences. So
yeah. Well, us marketing guys have the same problem, just so you know. Okay.
Right.
We drive down the street and it's like, they need a fence. They need a fence. Oh my gosh, they need a fence. What are we doing here? And so, yes, you don't walk into anywhere without checking out the fence and how it was put together.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, how I think different things were involved. I just had to throw that in. I just wanted to see if that's what you really notice when you're driving around. Okay.
First thing.
Yeah. Oh, it happens to all of us. But now talking to you guys about it, seems like you had a very clear vision of what you guys' mission is.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear from you guys, like, what are your founding principles for this company?
Yeah.
So treating people the way we want to be treated, is first and foremost. It's such an easy concept, but yet, sometimes it's so elusive. So that's what we strive for. That's what motivates us. And then Joe's was leaving things better than we found it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And honestly, every decision in the company is based off of those two principles. Yeah. Treating the people we want to be treated. Leave it better, and that goes all the way down, and we'll talk about it some more, I'm sure, but that goes all the way down to the materials we use.
Sure.
How we work with the clients all the way through the process to the end. Those things, when we're looking at maybe a new supplier on a product, again, is this good for the customer? Is this going to be better than what I currently have, or can provide them a better product and service? And so they're simple. They shouldn't be hard to follow, but as you guys know, you're around, it doesn't always happen. But if we stick to those two things, that tends to drive every decision we make.
I've often said, Mandy, and I think you made a good point, is that as a business owner, we kind of train people how to treat us. I mean, if we're doing the right things, then we're basically training them how to treat us back. And I think that's a very important point. If you think about treating people like they want to be treated, right, and you put yourself in their shoes, that's just a really cool, nice little 3x5 card reminder for me. Thank you. That's a good point. Great point.
Definitely. And so true, and leaving a place better than you found it. And as you talked about, like, nothing like walking into a house with a bad fence and leaving it and just being in, just a phenomenal cedar fence. Yeah, right. I don't think people can, unless you've like changed your fence, or like what it was in my case is we bought a house that was a pretty decent shape, but the fence was old. Mm-hmm. And we replaced the fence, and just the lift it gave to the property as a whole was incredible. It was like, you think you could kind of visualize what it looks like with a nice fence, but it is almost subconscious, but the whole place looks clean. It looks organized.
Mm-hmm. It's like a facelift.
Yeah, absolutely. It is incredible. You go to the backyard and it's got the old fence, and then you just replace it, and you look at it, you're like, oh my God, this place is incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, so guess what? Steve Neller just chatted in, and I know it's getting ahead of the questions a little bit, but we promised we'd bring them up so you guys can answer them, because we like to we dare to be different, as we say in this industry right now. So do you prefer cedar or pressure treated pine when installing a wood fence?
That cedar. It's a better quality wood. It's naturally pest resistant. It's naturally rot resistant. Pressure treated pine's a soft wood. When you are driving down the streets and you see those fence where the pickets are curling and the 2x4s, that's pressure treated pine. That's just the nature of it. And some people may disagree with me, and they'll say, hey, but pressure treated pine can last forever. And I agree. It will look bad for a really long time, because once it twists and curls, it stays that way.
Sure.
But is there is pressure treated pine that I actually use for an application in my fencing. We use cedar pickets, we use cedar rails, but I do put a 2x6 pressure treated pine kickboard that runs across along the ground.
That's smart.
That does
Yeah.
keep that water from wicking up into the good cedar.
Yeah, into the good wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
So there is a piece of it, but for pickets and rails, I'm going to go cedar all day long. I'm going to recommend it all day long. And honestly, that's the fence I want to put my name on. And that's, part of the company and starting something on our own. We want to be proud to put our name on every product we do.
Sure.
And so I'm going to go cedar, cedar, cedar if you're looking at fencing.
That was a great question, Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve, for the comment. Appreciate that.
And it's actually a perfect leadway to our next question, right? Because it looks like you definitely have a standards on the work that you put on. You have a pride of it. So go ahead and tell us why choose Stand Strong.
Well, when we talked about our founding principles, when we were, going through all our paces with Stand Strong Fencing, we found that we aligned completely with them. And what we expect to provide to our customer, they expect us to provide to our customer. It's the way they treat us as well. So our founding principles really aligned. And then the support that we got from them was unbelievable. So I'll let Joe kind of jump in on that.
As we were doing our due diligence on the company, we spent a lot of time with the leadership. We spent a lot of time with some other Stand Strongs that were open in other markets. But we kept coming back to is we were aligning on the way we wanted to do business. And really that was around how we treat the customer and want to treat the customer. That's how we make a difference. That's how we stand apart. The technology they supply, the expertise in marketing, bookkeeping, taking some of the things off our plate that maybe is not our strength when we're building, our company and putting up fences and running the day to day. There was a tremendous amount of support. The other thing that really kind of pushed us over the edge on that is being able to leverage their national buying power. So when it comes to building a fence, I don't have to go and buy inferior quality products from the big box stores. And if you've ever tried to find a straight 2x4 in the big box stores,
it's hard.
Good luck. You're digging through a pile on your hands and knees down there trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're able to buy from national suppliers, high quality products, and leverage the buying power. So I don't have to cut on my quality to deliver a good price on a high quality product.
Which that makes a lot of sense. And so being part of that whole conglomerate through the franchise, right, gives you a lot buying power. It's in groups, right? It gives you the training, the staff, it gives you the support, which is instead of being out there on your own trying to figure it out, you get this back end support constantly, which is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're doing the back end so we can go do what we like, talking to the customer and helping the customer, right?
Yeah. Perfect. Love it.
We've got
sell fences.
We've got some proprietary technology that doesn't help us build the fence. But when I am on site and we're walking your backyard, I can sketch that out, put that estimate together, and it's got the aerial view of your house. We are rolling out the technology now that, Jordan, if you said, hey, I'm looking for a 6-foot pre-stained board on board fence, we can do the measurements, and my AR tool, I can superimpose what that fence looks like in your backyard.
Absolutely.
You can look at it on the iPad and let's move forward, and we can do everything that way. So, we feel like we're bringing some additional technology to the fencing industry and trying to really kind of catch up with a lot of the every roofing company out there flies drones over the house now.
And they do scans, right?
Yeah, scans. So we're trying to do the same thing on the fencing side and allow the customer to visualize. This is what this one looks like. This is what that one looks like.
So AI is doing some industry infiltration into what you're doing now too, right?
Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah. That's super.
So let's dive deper into that because that's super cool. I didn't know you
that is cool.
So maybe you can walk us through like customer experience using a Stand Strong. Like what would it be like? Like let's say, my fence is horrendous. Somebody came in and put pressure treated pine, and now I have I don't know, picket fences that look like what was the Sleeping Beauty when those like vines come out?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
That's a great visual, Jordan.
The first part of it's just really communication. Once the connection's been made and the appointment's been scheduled, we really try to communicate so you're not left in the dark, where you're notified that you have the appointment coming up. We call you when we're on our way to let you know. You're not sitting there waiting or guessing. We're like, hey, we're heading your way. Joe goes out and gives like a consultative appointment. I mean, things that sometimes you don't even think about is, hey, you have a water spigot, here, do you want your fence in front of it or behind it?
Smart.
You notice right now your fence is behind your bathroom window. Would you like us to move it in front of it so that, you have a little bit more privacy,
Smart.
I mean, all those different things. So it's more than just what type of fence do you want? What height do you want? I mean, there's other things that you want to think about. And that's what we provide to the customer. We help them think about things that maybe they haven't thought about themselves, or the possibilities. And so once we get
is this something that happens like once I hire your services, or can I just
no, it's a free estimate.
Yeah,
wow.
that's just if you come in through our website or any of our phone numbers and call in and are interested. The first phone call is either going to be Mandy or I calling you to go, hey, we got your interest in the fence. We want to talk to you a little bit about what you currently have in mind, confirm our appointment time, confirm your address, and then we set that time to come out and meet you in person and do that consultation up front. If everything looks good there and you decide, yeah, I'm moving forward, you approve the estimate, then the additional communication comes into play. We confirm that. We start working on, hey, here's our anticipated installation date, but weather can play havoc with our schedule. So here's what I'm shooting for today. I will keep you updated as we're getting closer. Are we still on track? Did rain push us back a couple of days on previous jobs? You're in the loop.
We handle all the permitting for you. No matter what city, what town, we'll go in there and get your property permitted. When we go to do the job, we order 811s. It's really important to do.
Yeah, you got to know what's running underneath the ground. Yeah,
absolutely. Joe, tell them about your latest 811 issue.
I mean, and I would tell everybody, whether you're putting a fence up, using us, or you're going to start digging in your backyard for a garden, call 811. It's a free service. We did a fence. It's probably been about 3 weeks ago, and it was in Burleson. And we called 811, and they came out and they marked some lines. But as me and my installer, and part of our other commitment is the morning of installation, me, you as the customer, my lead installer on the job, we are rewalking that job that morning, making sure everybody's on the same page. So we're out there and we're looking at it, and there weren't enough marks. There was a power pole right behind his back fence with 3 high voltage lines coming through that should be running to 3 different homes, electrical box in his backyard. Just didn't look right. So we stopped the dig, recalled 811, said, hey, we need you guys back out here. Well, lo and behold, they came out and there were electric lines running everywhere.
Wow.
He basically came in on his fence line, went down it, and went on the way. And as we're standing there, the homeowner looks at me and goes, last weekend, my buddy and I almost just started digging some post holes ourselves.
Wow.
And I'm like, you get 2 feet down, you may have hit one of those lines and that would have been the end of you and everything else. So whatever you're doing in your yard, call, because there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah. So one of my personal questions, and I don't see it on here, I just wanted to ask is, do you guys have restrictions from homeowners associations? Do they have any guidelines for the different fence looks in certain neighborhoods? In other words, it has to be uniform. It has to be a certain way.
Absolutely. While we take care of the permitting and the 811, we do lean on the homeowner because they have the relationship, and have to authorize things with, their homeowners association. And yes, some homeowners associations are very specific. So we help provide you the information that you're going to need to submit to your homeowners association. And then that way they can approve it for you and get that done.
Okay, so it's part of the process. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll give you the materials we use, how deep we dig the holes. I can even give you photos of the different, that style of fence. So when they do go to the HOA, they've got everything they need to get that approval.
Perfect.
But yes, if they're in an HOA, almost every one of them has some little quirk. Truthfully, they've started to be a little more flexible. I mean, there was 6-foot fences everywhere. It's pretty common to see people putting up 8-foot fences today.
Good.
And getting those approved.
Yay.
Yeah.
You just got to know how to put up the 8-foot fence correctly, because weather, is one of those things that we talked about. You have a lot of winds and different things like that. So you have to make sure that you're digging appropriately in depth, that you're using, the right amount of concrete, that you're not cutting any corners, and you're building it with the right materials.
Yeah, because in Texas with the wind we have, any kind of flat, broad surface, right, is going to be more susceptible to damage over a period of time. So that makes total sense. So I guess the reinforcement part of that's a little different. Probably it gets taller.
Absolutely. So
Joe's going to be more in depth about this, but for example, like we use thicker posts. Joe, you know what gauge they are.
We use 12 gauge post.
Wow.
So it's a heavy duty construction post. If you're going up to 8 feet, most fences are set, the section's 8 foot on center. So each section is about 8 foot. When we do an 8-foot fence, I shrink those to 6 foot. I need more posts. I need more vertical structure. We dig down 40 inches and bury, 11-foot posts down there, a whole bag of concrete in every hole.
Wow.
We need to build it to last. We use 4 rails on those and a kickboard instead of 3. It's overbuilt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
With the winds, you need it to be overbuilt, and then there's options that people don't think about. You have shadow box fencing, which gives you a little bit more wind flow. If, depending on where you're at, if that's a real big issue, you can always look at different types, and styles of fencing that can help accommodate those winds as well.
And to kind of finish, Jordan, the experience, not only do all that communication up front, again, knocking on the neighbors' doors, letting them know the day fence installation's coming in if they're affected by it. I want them to have my contact information. I want to keep them in the loop so nobody comes home after work and where's my back fence? They have kids, they have pets.
Where's my dog?
Yeah,
right.
where's my, I don't want anybody to open the door and the dog runs out and they're like, what happened? So we take on that communication for the homeowner too, to make sure the neighbors all know what's going on and are in the loop. And then when that job's complete, I still walk that job with every homeowner at the end of the day to make sure they are satisfied with what we did. And if there has to be any tweaks or anything, my crew's there, I'm there, we get everything wrapped up so that they have 5-star service and the fence they want at the end of the day.
That's awesome. Yeah, good. So that's going to lead you right into the next one, isn't it, Jordan? Perfect timing.
Yeah, because I'm curious what kind of
Me too.
Install. Because now I think you mentioned a few things that made me think there is actually several different kinds of fences.
Yeah,
I think you mentioned shadow box, and I guess the most windproof one would be a chain link fence, but not the most prettiest. So you gotta find your
So go ahead. Do you want to go, Mandy? Or?
Well, it was funny, when you start doing fencing, you think of, for us, the standard privacy wood fence. And we built probably now about every fence there is to possibly build. We don't do electrical fencing, but we've done it from wood fencing to ornamental steel to, Trex fencing, which is a composite fencing. I mean, there's so many options. And even when you're talking wood, there's just so many different styles that you can do with that. You can do your board on board, you can do your shadow box, you can do horizontal. I mean, it's amazing how many options people have with fencing.
If you've got land, pipe fencing with hog wire around it to keep your animals in. That's awesome. You talked about wind, chain link. Yep, we do that. But we actually do more and more of ornamental steel, or wrought iron is what everybody calls it. But that's going to give you another option. If you've got a property with a great view, the last thing you want to do is put up a big
block it. Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
So let's look at ornamental steel. You secure your yard. You can even get ones with puppy pickets. So if you've got a small dog, it can't get between them. And if you want some security, there's different toppers you can put on those pickets, from pressed spear to things like that. But we do a lot of ornamental fencing. Again, around your pool, it protects everybody. It meets all the safety, but you didn't lose your view out the back. Or if you're on a golf course property, those are all great alternatives.
Smart.
And we probably do more of that than I thought we would as we get into, you're thinking again, like Mandy said, privacy fences, but you name it. We've done a lot more commercial properties than you think. So commercial fencing applications, from chain link around storage units to composite fencing at shopping centers to a little niche we've run into recently. I think we have built probably about 12 gates and areas around dumpster areas at banks, shopping centers.
Man, that makes sense because those wear out really fast. I'm telling you right now, that's probably a pretty good market for that.
And there's some things we've run into. Unfortunately, the times we're in is a lot of those old dumpster areas. They just had the big metal doors that would shut on it.
Sure.
Well, what we ran into, we're working with a group that owns shopping centers, is the associates would come out, open those to go throw garbage away, and they may be standing in face to face with, unfortunately, 3 or 4 homeless people that are in there taking shelter. And it became a security issue. And so we've replaced a lot of those doors with a shadow box style of wood.
Right.
So when it's shut and you're looking straight on, you don't see the dumpsters.
Right.
But if you're an associate walking out there morning or night, if you're walking at an angle, you still got some vision in there to make sure you're not opening the door, coming face to face with someone you weren't expecting. So it's things you don't think about, but it does get back to that security, privacy. It's a little bit of a different business that we did not expect.
That's really not a bad idea because, medical centers have locks and keys on those fences, because they're using biohazard stuff and hazard material drop off. So that's a pretty cool idea. I never thought about that.
We hadn't either until we started into it.
That's a great idea. What a niche. Good niche.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the things you don't think about. Wow. But what about the things you do think about, right? I'm going back to my fences that look
there you go.
From Sleeping Beauty. That would definitely drive somebody to change their fence. But what else can drive somebody to want to install or replace a fence?
Well, I think it's the aesthetics of your home. Hey, are you a new homeowner and you're going in, you want to get it paint, carpet, everything else? Well, maybe a great time to go ahead and upgrade your fence. I mean, if you're remodeling a property, are you having security issues? Is every time you're in the backyard, the neighbor's dog is sticking his head through the missing pickets and barking at you and the kids? Those are all items. Hey, we just put in a pool. We have to do this. We have to do that. Or, Joe, the fence is just falling down. What are some different options? And so I think it runs the gamut on what drives someone, but it tends to go around those 3 things: privacy, security, and aesthetics.
Right.
All in different variations. Maybe it's a requirement. If your fence is in bad shape, some of those HOAs, you could get some fines and they can be on top of you. So you have to fix it.
Right.
If you're in an area that maybe you're struggling with keeping people out of your yard, or you want to make sure they're not in your yard. We've taken some fences from 6 foot to 8 foot to stop people coming over the fence and cutting through a yard or cutting through a commercial space, things like that. So it's really run the gamut on what drives people. But again, then when you get back to, hey, Joe, I'm looking for a cedar privacy fence. Then the questions become, the height. Do you like the raw cedar, or would you like a pre-stained product? So we do have a pre-stained cedar product that I highly recommend. We can put up a fence and we can stain it. Everybody can. They're going to be out with rollers or sprayers, but the wind's blowing. It's hard to get that coat. So the pre-stained cedar actually is done in a controlled environment. It's sprayed, it's rolled, and everything's delivered. So when that fence goes up, it's good to go. You are not going to have to pressure wash or stain that fence. I don't know, 5 years, 6 years, depending. Hey, a hailstorm can change that. But the truth is, most people will say, no, let's just put up the cedar fence. And 70% of the time, within a couple of weeks, I get a call. Hey, can you guys come stain this? I want to protect it. And, we do, but I try to talk people into that pre-stained product as often as possible. and it looks sharp. It's already protected. It's a little more than the unstain, but it's not as much as if I've got to come back and restain it after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
so
wind
what-
never blows here, so
Exactly.
That's and what about if it's not your fence? Something that happens to a lot of people. Like it is not your fence, but it looks terrible. Yet your neighbor's not replacing it.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that is something that comes up a lot. And another
Yeah.
odd thing that you say that is, we've seen people when you go to take down a fence, there's another fence on the other side. We've seen people that they can't get their neighbor to partner with them, so they put up a fence and say,
so
okay,
they have a
you
double
have the bad
fence side
Double
by
fence.
side.
Yeah,
Wow.
and they're like, you can have the bad fence, but I'm going to get the new fence. But that's part of the customer service that we kind of like provide. Some people don't talk to their neighbors, or they don't know
You're
them.
right.
And that's why we make sure that we go over and knock on their doors and let them know that the fence is coming down, and when to expect it, and keep them up to date.
Good for you.
Yeah, so we check.
You would be amazed at the number of double fences we have run
No,
into.
I've seen them. I've seen them all my life. I mean, people just feel secure about having their own
Yep.
side of their yard protected with their own fence.
Yep.
They just feel like it's a control thing. I get it.
Most of the fences in the neighborhoods are put right on the property line, so it's a shared fence. And
Yeah.
I get questions like that all the time. Whose responsibility? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's whichever one of you want to take the responsibility. And I
Yeah.
tell people, talk to your neighbor. But if you can't work it out and you're going to pay for it, then if you want the good side, take the good side. And the good side is just the picket side, whereas what we'd call the bad side is the one with the rails.
Mm-hmm.
But I also tell people all the time, everybody's like, I want the good side. I want the good side. Again, depending on
Where you're
your
at.
area and what's around you, I always ask them to think about it. If the rails are on the other side of the fence, that can be a ladder for someone to climb up right over that fence. You might want to think about maybe you don't want the good side. If you've got a pool and there's a bunch of kids in the neighborhood, maybe you want that good side facing out.
Yeah.
So it's less ability for a kid to climb up over that fence and get into your yard with a pool.
Yeah. So you just got to give these customers the options to
Yes.
to see all the different sides of what it can and cannot look like,
Yep.
so they understand everything completely. So what do the neighbors do when y'all come out to actually start replacing? You're using your little 22 guns and you're making noise. Do you let the neighbors know you're going to be in a construction mode for a
Yep.
week or so or whatever?
Yep. I will tell them not only keep them up to speed on the day we're starting, but anticipated this is a 2-day job. This is
Yeah,
a 3-day
got it.
job. I
Perfect.
need you to be prepared. For the most part,
They don't
because
care.
we're proactive on it, we've had no issues.
Yeah, they don't
Have
care.
we run into someone that's like, look, I got a dog. I want this done. And we'll talk with the homeowner and go, hey, when we start putting up the fence, we'll just start on their side. We'll get that side done first
Yeah.
and work our way around the other way. So we want our customer to be good neighbors. We want to do the right thing also. Ideally, that's part of our business. If I treat you with respect and keep you in the loop, I want you to call me when you want to do the rest of your fence. And so we spend a lot of time making sure everybody's aware. We, unfortunately, in our life have come home from work and a neighbor took a fence down that we didn't know about. We had pets and they were in no hurry to put it up. And I don't ever want to be that guy.
No. And so before we get into your warranty, my other question is, so how is the fence connected to the home? Meaning you have a homeowner's policy, right, for insurance. So wind comes by, tears some shingles off, knocks down a fence. Is that part of a homeowner's policy or not? Or is a fence considered a whole separate on its own, get out as an additional item?
The homeowner's policy, when the windstorms have gone through, they will cover the fence, but guys, they'd appreciate the heck out of a fence. They do not give you what it's going to cost to replace.
Yeah, so if it's 10 years old, blah blah blah, you're gonna get pennies on the dollar no matter what.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
You're telling somebody, hey, this is a $5,000 fence, and they're like, my insurance company said $750, and it's it's not.
Yeah.
So it is covered, but they don't cover it as though they would the roof.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not
a
a- it's
different
really
thing. Yeah, they know they're going to wear out.
Yeah. They know they're going to wear out. They know if it's 10 years old, it's very little, but that does come into play. One of the things that helps us, and I think sets us apart as a company, is we do offer financing. So, hey, if your insurance company is only giving you $750 and this is a $5,000 fence, we've got ways to help you on that. We do offer financing. They have terms as short as like 3 months, same as cash, which may come into play if you're like, hey, I'd like to get my fence done now, but tax season's coming.
Absolutely.
Or out to 5 years. So there are different options. We want to give our customers as much flexibility as possible. When you do financing, again, maybe getting into the weeds a little bit, but if you do financing and you're approved and you're going through that route, we actually don't collect any deposit up front. That fence can go up with no money out of pocket. And when it's done, you let the finance company know that fence is done. They pay us out. Your terms kick into play at that point.
Yeah, so that's a win-win because people probably do want that option to be able to pay something out over a period of time.
Well, and also it's a soft pull. When you go to apply the first time, it's a soft pull. It doesn't affect your credit. And it just kind of gives you a base of what
a big deal.
You're qualified for. Yeah. And so if you decide to move forward, then it does the hard pull and then you lock in your options. But you can try it out without it, pinging your credit. So that's
pretty good. Yeah. So you can take a look and it's kind of like pre-qualification for a home, right? You can look at avenues, and then if you decide to hard finance it, you can go that route. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we've talked to some of our realtor partners on that. So if you're selling your house,
right,
and you want it to look really good, but you don't want to pour a bunch of money into it, well, maybe you do the financing and let us put a new fence up before you go on the market. Pay it off when you close on the house with no money out of pocket.
Sure.
So it gives you some flexibility and some different ideas to help home buyers and sellers.
Yeah, and you guys have a mortgage background, can probably help customers understand those rules, right?
Right.
And I tell them all, your home buyer, we will not have them apply for credit until they close on the home. We are not screwing that up.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
That is great. And on the other side, do you guys offer any type of warranty for the people that are going to be staying in the home?
Yeah, we do. We offer a lifetime warranty on our workmanship. You get down the road and things happen, and hey, this gate is starting to sag a little bit, or it's catching, you call us. We're going to come out, adjust, fix, whatever it takes. You can't put a warranty on the organic material, the wood, things like that. But that's one of the other things I talk to them about is who and where I buy my materials from. But on the workmanship, if those posts are leaning, if something happens on that, you call us. We are going to fix it because we're going to stand behind it. That was a big deal to us. Some of the products, if you're doing a vinyl fence, they'll have some of their own limited warranties, but we stand behind our workmanship.
Yeah. And, and also we talked a little bit about, we brought up the word Trex and composite fencing. That is a great product. If you're going to be there for a while, it comes with a 25-year warranty on it.
Wow.
Yeah, you put one in, you're not putting another one. And the other exciting thing about that product is it's a transferable warranty. So let's say that you're in the house for 10 years and you're ready to move. The new person that comes in, they get the rest of the warranty on that. And that's something that Trex does themselves. So that's a great product for people too. And that product has no maintenance. I mean, you might want to go spray it down, clean it off, but you don't have to stain it or anything like that. So, so there are products that have additional warranties, on their actual product. We do warranty our workmanship. So
that's great. I bet you everybody living off of Matlock, heading towards Mansfield, and those things that look that they probably ate some magic mushrooms, because they are just psychedelic. It's just crazy.
Man, those masonry brick walls along those neighborhoods there that are propped up with those things are all heaving. Yeah, there's
some stuff that needs to be done here.
Absolutely.
That's why you don't want to cut corners. You want to get the high quality materials. You want it dug right. You want the right amount of concrete in there. You want to make sure that you're using, somebody that's going to do it right for you.
Well, I love to have you guys on the show, because that's actually something I've been dying to ask a professional I know about it. Like, why does that happen?
My 2 cents. We don't do the brick walls. We haven't done the masonry. The only thing I can figure on that is those things are so darn heavy that maybe they didn't dig the footings deep enough. But the truth is there's a lot of clay here and it heaves.
Water and clay.
Drought, water, it heaves. And those walls, most of them are 6 to 8 foot tall and they're heavy. And once it starts to lean on that brick wall, it's not straightening back up. Gravity's going to win eventually.
Well, and some of those homeowners associations aren't pointing those bricks again. You still need to do some maintenance with the grout and the different things like that. And they're not aware that they need to do that. Like you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? Mm-hmm. And so if they'd done some maintenance on it and stuff like that, it would have helped, some of that. But, then there's also, you can't help Mother Nature at times too, though.
No.
If you have some severe, storm come in, that's Mother Nature. It's an act of God. So, you do run into that, on occasion. So,
well, I feel really sorry for you guys because every Texas house and property has a fence, and you guys have to drive and see them all the time. So,
you know what though? We like it. Like, we see some really good ones too that we're like, hey, let's check that out. Like our friends that we
I was going to say some creative stuff.
Really
people do that on their own. Maybe some of the ranches out there where they do different stuff and all that. Give you
see
ideas.
Some really
That's
good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well.
So if you got a cool fence out there, you might see me kind of walk up and take a look around. Don't worry, I'm just checking it out.
Right, exactly. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we thank you guys for being on.
Well,
Can you believe we were on 51 minutes? It went really fast, didn't it?
Yes. It was you told us we would do it and then get through it. So yes,
this was fun and
this was fun. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you.
One last question before we get geared up.
Yeah,
You're doing fences, and you kind of alluded a little bit of whenever you go in especially when it's like a wreck of a fence, you walk out and you have this phenomenal thing. But is that your favorite part of running the business, or what would you say is your favorite part of running?
I agree.
She probably has one. I'll answer mine real quick. My favorite part is still at the end of the job and walking it with the homeowner and them. And honestly, I'll still stand there, cedar fence after cedar fence. I'll be like, man, this looks good. But walking it with the homeowner and them being really happy. I'll give you just a quick example. Had a lady saved for years to replace her back fence. And we got it replaced and it looked great. And she told me when we were leaving, she goes, I'm going to go in the house now and I'm going to cry. And I thought, man,
wow.
You don't think about it, but you never know. It secured her yard. She had put her money away and it looked beautiful. And I'm like, that's why we do it. And so Mandy she probably loves the bookkeeping.
No. Well, the best part is I get to work with my husband every day. So that's nice. You know what I mean? And then, B, I like talking to people, just getting to share stories. People are so interesting, and it's really good to get outside of yourself, and meet people and hear what's important to them and all that kind of stuff. So I'd say the people.
I love it.
Yeah.
Man, what a great, I didn't know you could know so much about fences, Jordan. I'm always amazed on these lives we do on YouTube where, you think of the word fence and how far does that go in your brain, right? And then we talk to y'all and we find out, man, there's all sorts of cool wood, there's all sorts of stain, there's brick, there's steel, there's composite, there's ranch, there's medical. I mean, there's so many things. Number one, I'd say your job security is really good.
Right.
In Texas, okay?
I
would say you guys got plenty of work to do for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. So
all right, well,
the next time I see both of you, I'm going to ask, so are you driving around looking at fences now?
No, I'm not going to do it. It's like, right. I'm going to walk out this door today, and the first thing I'm going to do is look at the dumpster at fences to see. Yeah, I know. Got it.
Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go take a picture of that fence right there. I'm going to geotag it. I'll let you go talk to them because that thing is like.
There you go.
Tell them you know a guy. You know a guy.
You know a guy.
Uh-huh.
We know a guy, and we will refer you. And that's the beauty part of this. Is the beauty part of this show is we get to Um, Happy New Year. I'm saying that now because the Mansfield Buzz is going to go away till January 9th. We're going to improve some updates to our sponsors, Liberty Financial Solutions, your tax defenders. We want to thank Mandy and Joe Chapman for being on the show. We want to thank our other great host over there, Jordan, for asking the questions and diving in deep with you guys. And so, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. We're signing off from the Mansfield Buzz. We'll see y'all next year on January 9th. Have a great day. See ya.
Bye, y'all.